Welcome to Bullies on Parade,
where the mic is live and the standards are high.
We're kicking off this initiation. It's the first one, right, Carnal?
It's the first show.
That's right.
That we're just dropping to the community. We're doing these lives right now, but eventually we're going to post up the podcast that we've been working on here for a few months now. And this podcast, I believe, is going to really bring some light to what we do as a community. You know, because a lot of people don't understand how the bully community works. And I think we're going to bring some light to everybody in this community on this one.
We have some great topics of conversation. We have some good ideas. We like to welcome all the community because that's what we're here for.
Yeah.
We're here, to bring us closer together.
Absolutely.
Anybody that's here, anybody that taps in, we welcome you. You know, much love, much respect.
Much love and respect to everybody out there. I'm Johnny. This is my brother Esco. And we are part of the Bully Den.
And this is Bullies on Parade.
This is Bullies on Parade, man.
We have a great topic conversation today.
Man, I think that with everything going on and the show year kicking off, this is a good conversation for us to start off with as a first live. And like I said, we do have a podcast going, which we will be presenting here within the next few weeks. But these are all trial runs for us to kind of get together and have a good time and have good conversation and learn on the way. You know what I'm saying?
This is an interactive too. So you guys got questions, we're ready to answer or just chop it up, you know, topics of conversation, right?
Right. And educational topics as well, you know.
Today we have a good topic conversation.
Absolutely, bro. Absolutely. Today we are going to be talking about show etiquette. Show etiquette with all these shows coming and the show season kicking off and everybody getting their runs in and getting ready to go.
All that hard work.
All that hard work.
Putting in, you know.
In the off season, you know, obviously with our show year, we don't really have much of an off season, you know, but I mean, at the same time, we're able to, you know, give another analysis of the group of the kennel and see which dogs are ready to be presented and therefore move forward into actually the first thing that we're going to say is the fact that building a show calendar is essential.
Show calendar, especially in the beginning of the season.
The beginning, bro.
Yeah, in the beginning of the year, it's very important for you to have that.
It really is.
Organization.
It really is. It really is because at the same time, finances kick in. Some dogs get sick. Some dogs aren't ready, you know, so everything kind of falls into shape.
Traveling.
The travel, man.
Oh, the travel. The
travel's tough. It's tough on the kennel itself and the dogs.
Especially the dogs. Which is the most important part of this entire sports is the dog.
Absolutely. Absolutely it is.
I don't know how you see it, but it's a sport. It's a sport.
Well, a lot of people other sports don't see it as a sport, but us dog lovers, we see it as one of the major sports, you know?
Yes, we do.
Yo, what's going on, everybody? We got some people joining in right now.
We think
that way we can all chime in and chat, man, and have a good time doing it. You know what I'm saying? And bring some good topics. Because I feel like the community in itself, we kind of hold. Some people say, oh, you know, the old school breeders don't share secrets and, you know, everybody kind of keeps to themselves. But let's be honest. Let's be real honest here. Our bully community is not the most welcoming. You know what I'm saying? As far as visually, we're not the most welcoming, you know? We're all human. You know what I'm saying? We're all human. We're all human.
Competition brings competition, you know, and it breeds a sense. But this is a community, and first and foremost, you know, that's why this is a great topic. Is the etiquette part.
Etiquette, man.
Not just it's for those that do understand. It's every show is different.
Absolutely.
Every registry is different.
Absolutely.
And what us as competitors, I believe, we should ask ourselves is not just what the registry expects from us, but what we expect from the registry.
Damn.
Right?
Damn.
I tell you.
I'm telling you, man, this guy's coming with the thunder, yo. I was like, damn. That blew me. That was a great one, man.
And I know your history, and I know they don't, but I know, but it's the truth. Am I wrong?
No,
Am I wrong?
nah, you're right. You're right. You're right. And with that being said, let's kick this conversation off, right? So let's just start off with the show calendar. How should you perceive a show calendar? Okay, a lot of people perceive it with money. Obviously, that's a big factor in it.
That definitely is. Money is a big thing.
You know what I'm saying? And also family. That's another big thing. You know what I mean? Like, it's hard for us to already get the paper, but then when you have to explain yourself to the wife and all the kids that, hey, listen, I love you guys and I really want to be there for your first baseball game or your first home run, but I'm going to be trying to make my own home run here. You know what I'm saying? It sucks, but at the same time, it's what we do. It's what we love.
When you work
it's a passion.
so hard, yes.
And
you put all that effort. And not just that, but at the end of the day, there's always one family member that's wagging his tail and saying, yeah, let's go.
Let's go. And in our case, we got a few family members that wag their tail trying to come to the shows.
We got cousins on top of cousins, brothers, siblings. They're all wanting to go to the show. Travel.
For real. Traveling. Now, the expenses is one part. The preparation and I would say most of all the developmental part of getting the dog ready is what really focuses you on what shows to attack. Like in our instance, any show that's here in California, we attack.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? In any registry that we have
the privilege to attend,
to compete in, we attack, and when we have the opportunity to go out of our comfort zone, we also do that. I believe that that's good for the dogs. That experience is good for the dogs.
Any kind of positive reinforcement to add to that, like, don't be afraid. Take your dogs on a car ride.
For real.
That allows them to adapt to these car rides.
For real.
That last sometimes 18, 20 hours.
For real. I have, what we do is, we have puppies that are like 6, 7 months old, and we're starting to really see some good qualities in them. We'll throw them in the truck with us, and we'll turn up the music loud as can be, and let them kind of panic for a little bit, I don't know if you guys know, but most of the dogs, when they start having anxiety, they start to drool first. Those are the first signs of anxiety. They start to drool. So most of the time when they hop into their first car ride, our puppies tend to kind of get a little anxious,
They salivate, and you can tell that it's for a human, it's car sickness,
right?
Motion sickness, But at the end of the day, for a dog, it's completely different. Is their anxiety builds up,
right? So we try to do that. We try to maybe out of the year attack 2 shows out of the state, 2 or 3 shows that we can go to, whether it's like any state that's close to us. We try to attack those. But if we can get one in where we can travel across country and show our work, then man, let's be honest too. Traveling is what gets you known in the community. I mean, you put the face to to everything that they see online, and I believe that's essential for growth in a kennel, for growth in the community too. You know what I'm saying?
Any time that you can go to any kind of conformational dog show, fun show, any kind of things that you want to participate with the community, that is what is going to allow you to be known and welcomed, and you won't feel those butterflies that you get when you go to a new registry or when you go to a type of show.
Right. So, I mean, what we like to do is, we'll get a set amount of travel money together first and say, okay, which dog of ours is at a point where we can maximize our financial part of the actual competitions, you know? So we'll take the dog that's in best shape and as he's developing, you know, try to get him into these more convenient spots. You know, dogs that are more experienced in the show, those are the dogs that you want to take out. You know what I'm saying? Take out because they're ready to do that. But young pups, young dogs, I believe their true career should start in your state, you know, in your state, and really try to build a foundation for them to get comfortable in the show ring before you can actually take them out of state and put them in a very uncomfortable situation, you know?
Because of that, because adding to the fact that when they do go out of state, whether they're flying, whether they're driving, they do definitely experience that anxiety.
Right.
That's one of the more important unwritten laws is take that time to prepare your animal.
Right. Take that time to prepare your animal for the travel, for the expense of actually going to these shows, and you know, also the nutritional aspect of it isn't cheap either. You know what I'm saying? So we have to take that into consideration when you're building a show calendar, a real show situation where you're maximizing your income and your money that you're putting into it, and really taking advantage of the closer shows to you where your dog can be more proactive because he's more comfortable. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, definitely take that into consideration when you're looking to travel and to really put a show calendar on for the dog.
Some registries are more lenient than others. I mean, when you hear the horn in a certain registry, showtime, you're there, whether you've paid, whether you haven't.
Well, look, let's now shift a little bit and move forward now into real show etiquette and preparation for the shows, as far as travel and getting your dogs ready to actually compete. Ourselves, we tend to put a dog on a keep for about six weeks before we get to the point where we can actually proceed and put him into the show ring. But at the same time, you know, it has to be something that you really take the time to evaluate what's happening in your kennel and with your dogs. You know what I mean?
That's why I say, when you travel somewhere, you better get there on time because the show's going to start. And, you know, even
take him
for
inside,
us,
Tony.
for us,
take him inside.
In the concept, that's the champ. That's the champ right there.
Come on. Go on.
We got a little visitor.
Please take him inside. So yeah, we had Bogart crashing the party here. But let's get back to the point here of preparation for the shows. Okay.
Including travel.
Including travel.
Because sometimes it's only an hour away, but you get there late, right? But it's only an hour away. You can only imagine 18-hour drive.
Well, here's the thing with our community, man. I feel like that's one thing that we do slack on, bro, is the fact that we're very nonchalant about the shows, you know? And I think that that's one thing that the community can work on is getting these shows to move on a prompt time, because bro, I've been to registries where, and I don't want to sit here and name registries, but you know, I've been to a registry where in the morning they have the what's that fucking the national anthem. Excuse me. They have the national anthem, and once that national anthem goes, they sound the horn, and boom, the fucking show starts. So once that 8 o'clock mark hits, there's no stopping that show. No matter who's coming in or who's late, you already paid your fees, they're already going. So if you paid and you missed it, you know, that there goes that, you know. But that's
I'm not gonna lie, low key, I do love the fact that we get to mingle. We have a little more,
right.
but at the end of the day, it is a competition, and yeah, once
Well,
it backs off,
I
it
think
cracks
that
off.
for us as a community, a good starting time is like, let's be honest, most of our shows start at noon. Most of the shows start at noon. So if we could get the shows to start maybe like at 10, that would be great. You know what I'm saying? Because then
Gotta offer some breakfast sandwiches. I know, most people, but yeah.
but
I mean,
but that would be good. At the AKC, once they have the national anthem and that horn starts, those shows go. And I understand that, signing up or pre-registering for shows is still a factor that we got to work on. But at the same time, if we as a community can show up and get the show moving, I believe there could be more room for things like junior handler classes, junior handler things that can be done for our future of the shows,
yeah, I completely agree with you. Hey, and much shout out to all the registries. Shout out to everybody. Much love, much respect. Thank you for allowing us to have these venues and these things.
Yeah, man, because we know how hard it is to throw shows.
It's hard.
We've thrown a
It's
show
tough.
ourselves and it's tough,
It's tough. It's
So,
tough to deal with everything, right?
right, right.
And
But
not just showing up on time, not just having, not just wanting not to say, hey, we're going to start the show whether they're here or not. They paid their dues, they paid their fees, but we're going to start it anyway, and they lost out. Like, much love to that they give us the time and they wait for us and we're there. But I think it's up to us as a community, like I said. What does the registry expect from us?
right.
And I think that's what we're hitting at more than anything. What us as competitors and as ambassadors, we should do correctly.
Yeah, definitely.
Because if they're there and they're ready for us to start, we should, we should tip our hats to them. Much love, like I said, because that is a big controversy sometimes.
That is, but at the same time, I feel like we could definitely make some good strides in that manner, and just kind of get things going a little bit sooner.
So show up on time.
Well, all right. So,
second one?
well, let's see. We kind of strayed off a little bit on what we were talking about, right? About preparation for these dogs. So in our kennel, we take about 6 weeks and a keep, get the dogs ready. There'll be other videos where we get into nutrition and all that good stuff, but for now, we're just going to talk about the shows, show etiquette, what, like my brother said, what the registry expects of you and what your dog expects of you and what you should expect of yourself, but at the same time, get everything in motion to where you're comfortable in what you're doing. So we take about a 6 week keep, get the dogs in shape, do all these things. When we evaluate the dogs, then we decide, okay, these 2 dogs are ready to compete and we start moving them forward. I like to personally take puppies when they're young. That's one of the things that I can definitely tell you guys is if you have puppies, take them to the shows. Get them involved in the shows because that's going to help their future developing into the show ring. So once we have that build of dogs that we think, okay, these dogs will do it, we focus on those dogs, may it be 1 or 2 dogs. You know what I'm saying? But I take 2 of my dogs, 2 or 3 of the dogs that I feel are great. We start working with them. We start involving them in the show rings, bringing them to the closest shows that we can to get them comfortable. As they develop, we start traveling out. Okay. At this point, now we're getting into the shows. Now we're going to start getting into grooming your dogs before the shows and preparing your dogs for the shows. That doesn't mean on workouts and all that. It doesn't really mean their physique or their genetics that are now coming into fruition. It means more of the cleanliness of the dog, the hygiene of the dog. You know what I'm saying?
It's really important to build character. They know.
Yeah.
God, I love when these moments happen when it's time to go to the show, I think that the dogs feel it more than I do. In a sense, like they know.
They know. They know. They know.
Trim my whiskers.
Yeah, they know.
Come on, like get me right.
They absolutely do know. We have dogs that once they know certain dogs are getting a certain kind of bath and how we're preparing the dogs and start to groom dogs and shave dogs and clean them up, they start to get wild. Like they know we're going to a show. Who's going, you know? So it's, unfortunately, we can't take all of them.
It's one of those simple laws. No, you can't take all of them, but you can adapt them to know when it's time for the show.
Right.
And that's part of the preparation.
That's part of the preparation.
The 6 weeks that we take into that, they know they're working for something.
Yeah. Yes. That's one thing is when you're pushing your dogs, you know, obviously
you can't push them all the time.
Can't push them all the time, and you can't push them too much. You know, dogs are very short spans. You know,
there are some that are some, you know, different kind of specimens.
Ounce, we got Ounce. He's a different kind of specimen. He loves to run. He loves to be active, and the more he works out, the more he feels good about himself. But that'll be another topic when we start talking about dogs in our kennel.
They're different,
but
they are different. Some of them you just
you
wouldn't expect it from a 100-pound monster.
No.
To want to run 100 miles.
No. But you know, getting these dogs prepared is a great thing. Remember to always give your dogs a bath. Ain't no judge want to put their hands on a dirty ass dog. You know what I mean? Ain't no judge want to put their hands on a dirty ass dog. And let's be honest, our community isn't really the type to take your dog and groom them there and do all these things. I've been to different countries with these dogs, and in different countries, they take shit serious, man. They really do. They have very low resources, but they make the most of their resources. I mean, I've showed up to shows out there and they have grooming tables and they're giving dogs baths right before the shows and grooming them, you know, and doing things like that. Now, I'm not saying that's all of them, but I am saying that that's one place that I've seen where they're actually taking the time to groom their dogs and get them ready for the show. You know, look good, feel good, do good.
That's right. And at the end of the day, if you don't do those steps and you don't come home with the ribbon, it's not other than the fact that you didn't do those steps.
Right. Well, you know, that's another thing too that we're going to get into. But at first, you know, just getting your dogs well groomed shows the shows the amount of respect that you have for your sport, for your dog, for what you're doing, the amount of respect that you have for the work that you've put into the preparation of that dog when nobody's watching. You know what I'm saying?
To win when the easiest thing you can do, you didn't do it.
That's a good one, man. Write that shit down. Write that shit down. Don't expect to win when the easiest thing you could have done, you didn't do. You know what I'm saying? And the easiest thing was just give your dog a bath. Groom your dog before you present. It's like building up a beautiful marble statue and letting it sit for a week and getting all this dirt on it and then saying, hey, look at this brand new statue I got. Well, wait a minute. It's dirty. It's sitting here, you know, dusty. Doesn't look clean to me, you know. That just shows to me a lack of respect for your own work. You know, give your dogs the best opportunity they can. Groom your dogs. Get them ready. Give them a bath. You know, take the time to cut their nails. Another thing, here's another tip. Cut their whiskers. You know, they have these great, they call them horse shavers. And you can buy them on Amazon for it's like $10 or something like that. And you just run it through the dog. And it's not like you put a buzzer to them or anything because there's no engine on it. You just trim them down. It's the easiest way to really clean your dog up without your dog stressing out. You know, another thing that I'll tell you guys is cut their nails. Cut their nails down. That provides your dog with a better pad to be able to actually move correctly without shifting his foot because one nail is too long and it's hitting the ground or anything like that. You know, give your dog the greatest.
Hernandez says, trim the ear hair.
Right. That's another one.
That's right.
You know,
I like that. That's the community and all this. remember, we're all reading all this.
Yeah.
Any tips that you can give, even if you're giving them to your competitors,
it's all right. It's all right. Because the way I see it is, if you really want to be a champion and you really think of yourself as a champion, I want to compete with the best. I want to compete with the best that are looking the best. I don't want to compete with the dog that was the best, but now he's, and he doesn't get taken care of. I want to be in there with the best in order for me to feel like I'm really accomplishing something. So for us to elevate the game and do these things, it only makes us better as a community, as a dog handler, as a kennel, as a presenter of your work. You know what I'm saying? So take the time, groom your dogs, shave them down, their ears. Also, what we like to do is groom their belly, trim their belly so that you can see a better tuck. Turn the dog from the rear and look at them from the rear. Usually they have their hairlines that come up on their hind quarter and on their thigh, and you can see the line. If you could take scissors and cut that, it makes a much better line. So it gives you an optical illusion that the line is much more correct. These are just little tips. You know what I'm saying? That eventually can make or break you from getting a best in show. You know what I'm saying?
It's just the preparation. It's you come prepared.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, that's what you want. You want to come prepared and knowing that you gave everything you could, and now it's just at the end of the day, they're all beautiful.
Yeah.
In my perspective,
And really we have to, as a community, understand too. And here's a good topic right now. Okay. Kennel blindness. Kennel blindness.
We're getting into one of the hot topics of the day right there.
Kennel blindness can be a roadblock in growth. You know what I'm saying? And we all have to be honest with ourselves and know what is a show dog. And really do the research on the standard to understand if you have a show dog or not. Not every dog is a show dog. And a lot of people may think that, but you have to do the research. You have to read the standard. You have to visually see correction so that you can understand correction. Now, kennel blindness is a detrimental thing for growth in the show ring and as a kennel. You know what I'm saying? As a breeder, all of these things tie into that. You must be honest with yourself. If you go to a show and you walk out with second place every single time, you go to another show and you walk out with second, third place every single time, and you don't pick up a first, let's be honest. A lot of the community starts blaming the registries that they don't know what they're doing, and these judges fucking suck, and these judges don't know what they're doing. But let's just take off our bifocals for a little bit and our blinders and really see what's in front of us. And that gets us into our next topic, is sportsmanship. Sportsmanship is huge, We have to accept defeat, and you have to be gracious in defeat to be even more gracious in victory. You know what I'm saying?
Embrace
it. And embrace it, because really, and this is in my own perspective, I learn more from losing than I've ever learned from winning. And I've lost so much. And I don't even call it losing anymore. I call it lessons. You know what I'm saying?
One of the things that I caught wind of is despite how we're perceived, the community is very embracing. There is information, like we're ready to, hey, you might have not picked up that best in show, but you can ask why. And there is so much information out there. Like that's what I see. Like our community embraces knowledge and knowing and figuring out what we can do better for the breed.
Well, I think that there's certain parts of our community, You know, there's certain parts of our community, because let's be honest, man, like not all our community is cool. You know what I'm saying? And we don't all get along, and that's just how it goes. You know, I'm not saying that we don't get along with anybody. No, I'm just saying that in general, there's a lot of animosity. There's a lot of, you know, my dog is the best and this and that. And then that's okay. That's healthy. That's healthy, man. I feel like that's okay. But let's be good sportsmen about it. You know what I'm saying? Let's.
Competition is good.
Oh man, that's the best.
I don't expect anybody to tell me, oh, well, this is how you can beat me. But at the same time, thank goodness for the fact that our judges are real. The community, the judges in the community, they're not biased. They love the dog, and they can tell us exactly where we're failing.
Well, here's another thing too. Okay. I see sometimes people when you don't get the result that you want in the ring and people walk out, you know, and instead of walking out and being upset at what just happened, because that just happened, you know, take the time to maybe walk up to the judge and say, hey, maybe after the show, can we have a conversation on how I can do better with my dog? There's no need to come aggressive at any kind of judge and say, hey, why didn't you give my dog the first place? It's already done. It's not going to change anything. It's not going to change anything. What it may do is make you look like a fool, because then the judge might get mad and start telling you your truths in front of everybody. And nobody wants that. You know what I'm saying? So I would advise people, if they have questions on why you didn't achieve what you thought you might achieve, ask a judge, but ask a judge in the terms where you can do it after the show. Don't try to hinder the show while it's moving. When the judge is done with the show, come up to him and talk to him. You know, hey, what can I do better with my dog? How can I perform better? How can I help my dog better? Do I have the right type of dog? You know what I'm saying? These are all things that can help you develop, grow, and be a better sportsman. You know what I'm saying?
It's one of those nice traits, like one of those things that, hey, I'm not a sore loser.
Right.
Don't be a sore loser. Don't be a hater. Don't be a sore loser.
There's just
that energy out of it.
Yeah, there's just no room for that, because let me tell you something. If you feel that, your dogs feel that too. That's a hundo. I feel like that's a fact. Whatever feeling and emotion you're going through at that show, your dog feels it at the end of the lead.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm gonna tell you that I've had to understand to how to pull my like for this type or that type. It's like I get it. Everybody has their own, you know,
Vision.
their own vision, their own dog, their own way. You know, you want this, you want that.
Yeah, but if you're trying to compete in the show ring, your vision, your this has to match the standard.
I look at a weed
That's
dog.
the thing.
I look at and like saying, I look at a schnauzer and I'll say, oh, what an ugly dog. But that's it's not my
Right.
attitude.
That's your opinion. Yeah.
So I'm not, but I've had to learn how to pull that feeling instead of saying something negative, saying something like, oh, well, that's not my type.
Right.
You know?
Right. Well, you know,
But I've had to do that personally, you know?
Well, you have to set your feelings aside sometimes, you know, and that's hard to do for anybody, you know. But speaking of sportsmanship, we have a list here of the AKC Core Code of Sportsmanship, and we're just going to go over this because this is the AKC, the highest registry in the United States of America, presenting canines in show rings and conformation shows. This is their code of sportsmanship. And the first one is the welfare first. Place the health and well-being of the dog above winning. That's a great one. You know what I'm saying? Utmost and foremost, you don't take your dog out there to get heat stroke or anything like that. If you understand,
part of your family out there, like you go into a show, you don't go over there to try to bring any kind of negative energy because there's family, there's children, there's kids.
Right.
I mean, come on, you know.
Right.
That's a guaranteed. And
so take the welfare of your dogs first.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? Ain't nobody want to see a dog getting there and fucking dying and doing all that. You know what I mean? God knows nobody wants to go through that. You know what I mean? Disrespectful behavior. Conduct yourself in a manner that reflects positively on the sport and the registry.
Any registry.
Any registry you go to, you know, be respectful.
You have fun shows, you have confirmation shows, you have other shows, you know, be respectful.
Be respectful.
Any platform.
Be respectful. Fair play. Abide by all the rules and regulations. Do not engage in unsportsmanlike behavior or negative gossip.
You know what we're talking about.
You know, let's keep that somewhere else. You know, support newcomers. That's a big one.
I like that one.
I like that one, man.
I think that one should have been 3.
Yep. Encourage and assist those new in the sport. That's a great one because you want to be welcoming, dude. We want our sport to grow. We don't just want to sit here with, you know, yes.
And everything and for the health and the benefit of the breed.
That's right. And the benefit of the community and the health of the community as a community. You know what I'm saying?
Responsibly.
You know, here's a general ring etiquette. Okay.
That's when you're in the ring.
That's
not just when you're showing up to the venue.
Right.
You're actually in the ring.
Right. So this is number 1, leash policy. Dogs must be on a leash at all times, except when they're in the ring. Then they become on a short leash or a lead, you know, and that's a good one. I see a lot of people sometimes walking around and they go to the shows and they, you know, walk around with their dog thinking, oh, my dog is super friendly and this and that, you know, and he's letting them roam and giving them a bunch of slack. And all of a sudden that dog gets too close to a little hot rocket and bam, you know what I'm saying? All it takes is a second, man. You know, so keep your dogs on a tight leash when you guys are walking through, unless you guys are obviously going to take the dog to potty and he's in his own space. But when you're going through dogs and moving through aisles, keep your dog tight because, you know, dogs are unpredictable sometimes. You know what I'm saying? And shit, I've had dogs that are super calm around it and all of a sudden it just takes that bad look from that dog. And that's it. You know what I'm saying? So keep your dogs leashed up. Okay. The ring entrance. Do not block the ring entrances or exits. Avoid leaning on the ring, on the ropes around the ring. That's a big one too. You know, I feel though that our community isn't too bad about that. No, we give each other space to kind of come in and out. You know, that's a good one for us, you know? I think
on that one, we're on point. There's just some other things we ain't on point about, but
you know,
that one we got, because I think that for to say you want to get close to the ring to see the competition.
Right. Sometimes the shit gets heavy and everybody's like, woo, they all crowd, you know?
Definitely one of the things I'd say is if you're going to do that, don't bring your dog with you.
Right. Keep your dog away and,
any kind
you know,
of distractions, any kind of like, you know,
can be detrimental to the dog that's showing, you know? It really can. Petting policy. Never pet a dog without asking a handler or their owner.
I love that. That's one of my pet peeves, you know.
Oh, man.
I tell you this. I will tell you. Actually, one of my friends, I told him, don't you ever do that. Like, don't you ever just go and you're petting a dog because in your mind, oh, and absolutely, you might be right. But don't you do that because you're distracting. You're creating a negative attitude or reaction, whether you believe it or not. Even if my dog allows you to pet him, which then most of the time they will.
Right.
But that is not something I want or I've trained my dog to.
Right. Now let's keep in mind too, though, that in the standard, the dog should never be human aggressive. Now that's not what we're talking about here. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about you sitting out there with your dog and your dog's potting and all of a sudden somebody comes up and says, oh, what a nice dog, and just comes up and grabs the dog and starts petting him. Right. Do not do that. You know, keep your hands to yourself without asking. You know, be polite about it. Be respectful about it. You know?
You don't go up to anybody and just start petting them up.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
You don't go to a human and start, you're like, oh, yeah, hey, what's up? Because I know you're not going to do nothing. You don't do that.
Right.
That's something that anybody should do. That's one of my pet peeves. Oh, I go off.
That's a good one. That's a good one. Equipment. Use proper equipment. Collars should not have dangling tags or be something that hinders the dog from moving. That's a good one. I see people coming in there sometimes with big chokers and big collars, spike collars. You know, nowadays we're getting better about that. But, you know, there's still people coming in with collars that don't really understand what's going on. Us as a community have to take those people and say, hey, let me help you. Why don't, you know, if there's a vendor there that sells chokers or that sells leads, you know, hey, let me take you over here. This is what we like to, let's be a positive environment, dude, for people's growths. You know what I'm saying? There's not a lot of people who can actually see what we're trying to do and the growth that's actually happening in the community, you know? So the more we can actually invite people and try to help people, I think the better it's going to be. The shows are going to get bigger. There's going to be a lot more respect.
And the next person I see at Petco buying a lead or a collar and not from the community, I'm gonna catch y'all. Because we have a lot of that. We need to support each other. We need to support our friends, all registries, everything like that. We need to keep it in house.
Right. Right. Respect judges. Do not argue with judges or question the decisions in the ring. We were just saying about that. Right. No, that doesn't mean that you can't, you know, hey, maybe after the show we can have a conversation. Great. You know what I'm saying? But do not try to force yourself on the judge when he's already made his decision. You know, take that to a situation where you can get more clarity when there's nobody involved and nobody's around and you can actually get help. You know what I'm saying? Or understand why you didn't take that or why you didn't get placed or anything like that. You know, so that's a good one. Food and distractions. Keep food away from the ring. It causes distractions for the dogs.
This is and the distraction on this one too. Like this is a one of those topics. It's, can you bring a distraction into the ring, whether it be a tree, whether it be a ball? And now I know most of my judges here, who with the ones that are on with us that or they're gonna watch it, they might disagree because they all have their certain rules in their ring. It's their show,
right?
So.
Right.
What do you feel about that? What do you feel about?
I feel like
you know.
I feel like this. I feel like in the puppy classes, you should be able to. And it shouldn't really hinder because what you're trying to do is get the dog comfortable in the ring as a puppy. Okay. I believe that as he's developing in the ring, that shouldn't be necessary. That shouldn't be necessary because he's starting to develop into a show dog. You know, once you get into the champion classes, absolutely, I don't feel like you need a ball. I don't feel like you should need all these things. That dog's a champion and he should be able to conduct himself and act accordingly, you know, without any kind of distraction or anything like that. Now, grand championships and all that all goes with it. But I do believe that there's certain stages in the development of a show dog that you need those distractions, you know?
I think so.
You need those distractions.
I think it's one of those unwritten topics, and it could go either way.
Right.
You know.
Right. Those are all good things, man. That's a good list from the AKC just for us to kind of keep in mind. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't say that we have to abide by everything that they write or anything. Absolutely not. You know, because we're our own community and we're our own face, and you know we are the American bully community. You know, and we will do things a little different, you know, but at the same time,
I think they're universal laws.
At the same time, they're universal laws of sportsmanship in the dog world, you know,
and they're positive things. And like I'm a lazy. I don't like I don't want to go to work, and therefore my lifestyle is different. I'd rather go tend to my dogs and enjoy my life in that sense.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that the individual that wants to go and work and wants to go up, go get it is wrong. But they're ethical standards where it's going to be a positive thing anyway.
Right.
So
Right.
shout out to the AKC for that kind of breakdown of of their expectations for
Right. Their sportsmanship policies. And I think, like you said, I think it's more of a universal thing, you know? Uh, those are a few things that I believe are necessary. Another thing too, man, if you're going to the shows and you're presenting a dog as a handler, you know, or even as an owner handler, you know, go dress the part. You know what I'm saying? Go dress the part.
I like that. Shout out.
You know what I'm saying? Dress the part. Go in a suit, man. Go dress your best, you know, because, you know, you look good, feel good, do good, you know, and that's the same thing for the dog. Whatever energies you're transmitting, that confidence you're transmitting it to the dog, you know, all your energies flow through the lead. You know what I'm saying? My handling mentor has always told me that, you know, whatever you feel, it portrays at the end of the lead to your dog. So if you feel scared, if you feel like angry, if you feel frustrated, all that the dog feels too. You know what I'm saying? So just keep in mind that keeping your good energy is fundamental for your dog, really, you know?
Definitely, like you said, it will translate to the leash.
Absolutely. 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 There's a few things that I believe as a handler, you know, really shows and portrays your work even better. And especially if you take care of yourself as a handler and show up, you know, another good trick too, you know, don't go dress the same colors as your dog. You know what I'm saying? And there's a reason why. Because the reason why is when you're stacking your dog, you want to be able to see clean lines. You know what I'm saying? So if you have a black dog, don't go in black.
Hey, don't be spilling all the secrets. Yeah, we still competing too.
Don't go in black. You know what I'm saying? If you have a brown dog, maybe wear some black slacks so that the outline of your dog can shine better, can portray through better, so that the judge can have a better visual. You know,
Yes.
Those are just little things that we take in mind, and sometimes they may not be big things, but in the broad perspective of things, you may have picked up an extra breed because of it. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
You may have picked up a few extra points because of that, you know?
These are all small little tokens and ideas and thoughts that could better your experience.
And not because you were dressed different, but because the judge was actually able to see your dog clearly.
Correct.
To really give the time to really look at your dog.
You
know what I'm saying?
The backscape. You didn't cheat the landscape.
You didn't cheat the landscape. You know what I mean?
You left the portrait to what it was supposed to, because at the end of the day, they're not judging us.
Right.
They're judging the standard of whatever class that you're going up against.
Right. A lot of people tend to think that when you go to dog shows, you're competing against other dogs, and they're very mistaken on that. You know, you must understand that you're not competing against other dogs. You're being sized up against the standard, the written standard, and who's ever closest to the written standard should be the winner. You know what I'm saying? And that's really a philosophy that we live on, you know, as far as the show etiquette part and the show philosophy of it. Like, we go by that, you know, and that's one thing that I can tell people is, you know, take your time, do things right. You know, a lot of us try to skip a step here and there and do things a little off, but at the end of the day, it shows at the end of your lead, you know.
That's right.
Take the time, do things right, go dress the part, act like you want it. You know what I'm saying? And that eventually will lead to your dog. You know, dogs are to us, they're part of our life. They just by looking at my dog, I can tell you how he's feeling, and, you know, and other people look at me like I'm a weirdo and shit, but it's the truth. You know, you were so bonded to the dogs that you understand the dogs very well. you know, and
definitely wouldn't be here doing this podcast. So, like I said, like we said, bring the community together. Get this year. We want it to be different. I think that we're gonna go out, like we said. This is the beginning. This is our first one, but we're gonna go out there, and you're gonna see us out there. We're
definitely,
gonna definitely be in places where you might not expect us.
that's absolutely right. We have a very good calendar set up this year for competing. We got some shows coming up here. We got some shows out of state. We got some shows up north. You know, we want to take some dogs internationally. We want to bring in some dogs internationally. There's a lot in the works, you know, but calculated is the best way. When I started getting into the show rings, I remember the best advice I got was from Laureen Wilson, and she's from Adorables. Shout out to Laureen Wilson. Adorables Staffordshire Bull Terriers, and she was also part of Sierra staff. But I had the great privilege to help her, you know, with my mentor. And we showed up to the show, and I remember getting to the show, and it was pouring, man. It was an AKC show in Del Mar. It was pouring, and we went to go and study. And the first day we were there, we studied and we watched and observed and took notes and wrote down and brought back information with us. And then afterwards, you know, we went and had a conversation with Laureen, and Laureen says, "Hey, what are you doing tomorrow?" I said, well, I don't know. He goes, "You want to come and help me?" Sure. You know, that's great. Absolutely. So the next day we're there, and it's still pouring. I get there early in the morning. She says, "Be here at 6. I said, 6 in the morning? Damn. Like, I really? My mentor says to me, "Yeah, be here early, dude." All right, great. I show up at 6:30. I'm there. Boom. She told me show up by 6:30. So I was there by 6:30. I remember getting off. I see her sitting there, and she looks at me. She calls me over. She says, "Come here." So I go over there. She tells me, "Take my dogs." Boom. So I'm like, absolutely. I start loading all the dogs. We go inside. She says, "Let me tell you something. Today, you're going to learn something." And I said, "No, I'm very grateful that you're giving me the opportunity to do this." She says, no, but listen, you're going to learn something. You're going to learn to play chess instead of checkers.
That's right.
And I said, "What?" She goes, "And we're going to play this by my rules and do what I tell you." That day was one of the most enlightening days for me as a handler and as a competitor. And it humbled me so much that it helped me tremendously, you know, because I got there and she gave me,
Was this a AKC?
yeah, this was an AKC show. She gave me her best dog that day. She said, "I'm going to give you Hammer." And Hammer is a grand champion in the AKC, bro. He's won all sorts of stuff, you know, and I was blown away. I was like, "Really?" She says, "Yes. And I'm going to take this female. She only needs another major to be a champion." And I said, "Great." She said, "But it would be nice to take everything with her." And that's what we're going to do. And I was like, "Wait a minute, but I have Hammer, and Hammer's won everything." You know what I mean? So she says, "Well, you're going to handle Hammer, and I'm going to go in here with her, and then we'll see what we can do. But pick up what you see, understand what you're doing." Great. Walked in there. Man, that dog was everywhere on me. I couldn't control the dog. I was trying to do this, do that, do way too much, you know? And she walked in gracefully, boom, everything, bam. It was so fast. Next thing I know, boom, she already won and I'm already out. And she keeps going. She walks out of the ring and she says, "Thank you. You did absolutely exactly what I wanted you to do."
You novice.
And I was like, "Well, I'm glad I was able to help." She goes, "Yeah, you know what you did?" I said, "No." She goes, "You did what you knew what to do."
Which is nothing.
I
love that kind of.
And that opened my eyes up to say, dude, this whole thing that I may think I may have a clue, I have no idea. I have no idea. And I have to be around people that can make me see these things in that manner. Because there's nobody else who was going to humble me more than she would, you know, because she's a female, because she's done this many years, because she's made grand champions after national win, after this and that. I mean, we can go on and on, you know, but at the same time, it was something that was so humbling that it really opened my eyes up and made me become a student and really hone into what we wanted to do and get better at our craft, you know.
We encourage you guys all to, take these little tokens and enjoy this year. The competition is about to start all over the place, and sometimes it's already started.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
we do want to encourage you. All these things we talked about today.
Take them to the show ring, man.
At the end of the day, you're all winners.
For just going.
Yeah.
Just going. Because let's be honest, man, confirmation shows, if you've never been to one and you're not comfortable, they're fucking scary. Yeah, they're scary. Fun shows are fun. Everybody has a fun. Everybody's joking. It's all fun.
I love fun.
But at the same time, when you go to a confirmation show, you get a different vibe. Like, oh shit, this is serious, you know? So it can really put you in a different perspective into, humbling you, and making you fear what you don't know. But I would tell everybody.
Some real shit, some real things that need to be discussed.
Yeah.
This is, and this will be, Bullies on Parade.
Absolutely, man. Like I said, we've been wanting to do this for a while, and we're just throwing these little lives up right now. But this upcoming, I'll give you guys the date here very soon. We're going to launch the first podcast, and that will be available on Spotify. You'll be able to go on YouTube, on the YouTube channel, and check all those things out. We're going to put down a lot of information on health, nutrition, development. I mean, from whelping stages all the way to grand championships, traveling, all of these things, all these unspoken things that our community doesn't want to tap into, we are. We're going to tap into these things. We're going to give you guys our experiences. That doesn't mean it's going to work for everybody. No. I'm going to be very fucking clear on that. So I don't want to hear like, hey man, I did this, it didn't work. And no. This is what works for us, and I can tell you that temperature and climate has a big factor on how things work.
And share everything, share with each other. You're like, come on, like this is the melting pot.
Yeah.
This is where we're going to really make a difference in our community.
Yeah.
And for the breed.
We're going to try to bring out show results from all registries, We're going to bring out great interviews as well with great breeders, and OGs from the game. We're going to bring all of these things to you guys in a timely manner, so we really, really, really hope that you guys can all join us, that you guys can share these videos, that you guys can get this word out in a manner that we can all help each other. You know what I'm saying? So as a community, we're out. Let's get it together. Let's go to these shows. Let's kick some ass. Let's get these shows cracking. And most definitely, we will see you guys on the next show. Next show is next weekend. Next weekend, Claremont. The weekend after that,
Indian Hills, Claremont. The weekend after that,
Arkansas. Yep. And then we'll be posting up a few more dates on other registries and other shows that we'll be attending. So that, if we're there, man, hey, feel free, come up, chop it up. Let's talk dogs. I may be running around here and there, but my brothers and my kennel partners will be there. They can help you guys with whatever we need. You know what I'm saying? So take care. God bless. On to the next one.